All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio, Scottsdale, Arizona, with Randy Angston, the co-host. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Another day, another episode.
Another episode. Yeah, a lot to talk about today. This is a question that actually was raised on probably 2 calls ago that I had with a client. We were just talking about raising rates, and that's a great topic because this is something every gym should be thinking about. I'm not saying that you should do it, but we're going to go through some math and you can make some decisions for yourself. So, I'm not sure when this episode comes out, but
it'll be June 5th.
Oh, nice. June 5th. So June 5th. So you still have time to get into the automation workshop, CLA automation. That's through pfmarketingsolutions.com/automation. Check that out. That's a 2-day course with me running and creating your automation systems for you. So check that out if you're interested in that. But let's jump right into this episode. This is almost a little bit taboo, right? So it's taboo in the world of what we do is training and, training facilities. And I think this started for me back when I was working with my first location with Thomas Plummer. This is interesting. So Thomas's whole thing, and for those of you guys that don't know Thomas, he's like the grandfather. Mm-hmm. He's probably worked with just about every guru or coach or business out there. He's a national speaker, great guy, very, very wise. But he originally told me to never raise your current clients' rates, and I took that and I ran with it, and I did it for years. And so, as we raised rates, we never adjusted our current clients, and we said that was our way of saying thank you for being a client. And as long as you're a member here, you're going to be locked into that rate. That's great. In fact, that's what we've done for a decade. We never changed rates. We did raise the rates for new members, but our current clients, we just kept them on. And so, over the years, we've increased a lot of things in the gym, added services.
Changed your model a lot.
Changed the model, and the values skyrocketed from the early days. And I go back, and it's funny, sometimes back, even 2-3 months ago when working with Zach, we're looking at these old memberships in here like, what are we doing? and the fear is that you're going to lose clients if you raise the rates, and you're going to break a promise if you had that conversation. And so I never did it. And I was always like worried about losing clients. That was the number one reason.
Well, but what other industry doesn't? What other software doesn't? Like at the end of a contract, you're up for negotiation. Mm-hmm. Always. Like you sit in the seat today. It's not 10 years ago. It's not 8 years ago, right? So why is it fitness should be that way?
It's strange. It's very strange. Everything else in my life goes up.
Exactly.
So your mind-body software, if you're using that goes up all the time. They just throw an increase, and you don't have really much to say about it. And, it pisses you off, and some people leave, but they still are there, and they're the leader. And your rent, your lease and mortgages, they go up. I mean, not your mortgage. Maybe if you have an adjustable rate, it might change too.
Sure. Lease agreements.
So it's built into most everybody's lease is to kind of have annual increases. For us, it was like 3%. So
cost of operation is always going to increase. Business. A business doesn't exist over a period of time without that happening.
Right. And so why is it okay for everybody else to raise rates, but you can't raise the members' rates? So that's where this stems from. And we recently did this. Mm-hmm. We actually did raise our clients' rates. We didn't raise them much, and we used it as of saying, hey, the cost of our operations is, we've got this cleaning going on, we've bought supplies, we've got to, increase our janitorial services, all this stuff increased. We're just kind of passing it on to them, and, we're not making much out of it. But if you're stuck in an old model like I was, and we're going to run some numbers for you guys that make a lot of sense, I think you should really consider it. So let's talk about this scenario. Let's just say you're running a large group training facility, a boot camp type place, and you've got, say, 200 members, and they're all paying about $150 each. That's a very common model. I see that every day. It might not be 200, it might be 100, it might be 400 people. Maybe you got, $150 rate, and that's the rate. Mm-hmm. You got 200 people, and for easy math, that's $30,000 in revenue per month. So, a smaller operation, a decent operation, you're doing $360,000 a year just on memberships, and then, anything else you sell. So you've got these 200 members at paying $150, and you're like, you know what? We're not making it. We need to do something. You could do one of three things. You can get more clients.
Yep.
And, that pool isn't always infinite.
And that's typically where gym owners think, right? The lead gen. I need more people. Right. And it's not the only option.
Yeah. So you could either get more clients. You can either get them to buy other things. Mm-hmm. So, T-shirts and supplements and nutrition plans and stretch therapy or whatever it is. That's another way. Or you can increase the cart value of the client. So you would increase their rate. So think about this scenario. If you're sitting in a gym, you've got 200 clients and they're paying $150, and you're doing $30,000 and you're just not making it. What if you were to raise everybody's rates in the whole gym? Hey, we're going to $200. You probably pinch, you might pinch up a little bit.
Yeah,
you might pucker up. If you were to do that and you kept everybody, you would immediately increase 25%. You go from 200 people times $200 a month, $40,000 a month. So you went from 30,000 to 40,000. Will that happen? No, you're going to lose people. And so this is your, I guess basically your risk reward kind of thing. The math says if you were to increase to $200 a month and you had 200 people, if you lost 50 of those clients, 50 of the original 200, and you had 150 people left paying $200 each, you're going to make exactly the same amount of money. Now, you wouldn't probably want to do that to break even, but do you really think you're going to lose 50 clients? It depends. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
If you just lost half of the 50, you're ahead. You're ahead for every single month after that.
Yep.
But think about this. With 50 people less, even if you did lose 50 people, you got less to manage, less wear and tear on your equipment. You might not need as much staff. You can run a leaner operation. Maybe you reduce your hours and squeeze those 150 just into less classes and less sessions. There's a lot of upside to raising rates. It's a math equation at this point. And when we did this, we knew we were going to lose people. And I had just talked about this on maybe 2 episodes ago. We lost one person.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we only raised $15. That wasn't 50, but 15. And we were thinking, okay, we could probably lose 10, 12, 15 people and still be ahead. We lost one.
And it was somebody who was grandfathered in on, way old rates.
Yep.
Way old rates, paying less for small group training that she was receiving than the people next to her or, in the gym playing for boot camp or larger. Like that blows my mind.
Our lowest rate. And we're going to keep going back to her, but she felt like, she was grandfathered in and supported you guys. And we had to have a tough conversation. And that's really the reason we never did.
Exactly.
We wanted to raise rates all the time, but we were worried about those 2, 3, 5 people that are going to just argue and be pissed. And you don't want to do that as a gym owner. You want to make sure, it's in our nature to serve and want to help. And we, all these things that go with being a gym owner. But this is business, and business says, and the numbers say, to increase your rates, you're going to lose people, but you can suffer some losses and still be way ahead.
And still be ahead of the curve.
Let's just say you lost 25 of those people, and so instead of making 40,000, you're making 35,000, but you're making 35,000 again next month and the next month. That's a $60,000 increase while losing 25 clients in this scenario.
So you've reduced your burden to the business as far as the people that you have to serve and you're taking care of and so forth, and then you've increased the profits
by $60,000.
That doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't suck. So that's really what this episode's about. Is like let's take a real hard look. And most of these episodes have been about taking a look at the business.
Absolutely.
While you can. And if you're ever going to pull this off, it's now.
That's why we're talking about it now.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? We need to talk about raising rates with folks. And I never did it. Like, I never for 10 years. And I was always on the, hey, we told people, or this was our policy from 10 years ago. and it was it's actually the wrong policy. And as much as I like Thomas, he gave us bad advice. I mean,
sure. I mean,
maybe that was, he felt was the right thing to say, and maybe he still thinks that's the right thing to say. But in an actual operation, I feel like we should have raised the rates many times over the years.
or maybe he just never considered the fact that you'd be in a position still having clients 10 years down the road paying those rates.
That might be.
That could be, you know what I mean? If the average cycle of a client is, I mean, even for a decent lifetime value, maybe it's 3 years. You know what I mean?
That's
like
probably more of what it is.
Exactly.
Hey,
and
you know what? These clients are only going to be there for 24 months, so you're never going to have somebody for
you're never
10
going to have
years.
that problem. So, yeah.
You know what? Benefit of the doubt, I think that's probably the angle. And maybe if he said that back then, I would have maybe raised rates over time. Something else that I'm seeing happening that's just very smart is in the contracts, you have an annual increase based on the current rate. Like, so let's just say you're at $150 a month, and it's a 1-year deal, and then the next year to renew, it's 3% higher. Do the math, and then 10% higher every year, but the whole gym moves up 10.
Sure.
The whole gym moves up 10 every January or every whatever. That's another way to do it. It's built into the business model where it's just expected.
Yeah.
And everybody moves up. Your new clients move up. The old clients move up. Everybody moves up together, and you continue to grow. And that's just another way to do it. That's something else you can consider. But I think this is something any gym can do. But let's talk about another thing. There's, you just talked to me a little bit before the episode where you have a lot of conversations where they're talking about, hey, I don't think I can charge what maybe you guys, Tim charges over at Pulse. Like, you're a different demographic, and he's charging $300-400 a month, and I just don't think I can get that in my area. What do you say to that?
Honestly, I mean, this is a perfect conversation for it because it's money, and the decision that you had to make in raising your rates is what they're going through, and it's the fear of kind of the small percentage of people that are going to be upset, right? And the mindset of you as a gym owner, like, we get it. You're here to serve people. You're here to take care of people, and we're all in that same seat together. But at the end of the day, it still needs to be a business. And I think that a lot of gym owners are still stuck in the idea that it's just about the client's results, and they will literally sacrifice.
And they'll suffer.
They'll suffer in order to just deliver that, and you don't have to. And I mean, we could go. We might have to do another episode on like the psychology of providing a better result for that client and being able to charge more for it. But there's got to be some sort of understanding that with less people, you're able to provide a better level of service.
More hands-on.
Yeah, there's value. So cost and value are not necessarily linear, maybe. You know what I mean?
Alignment.
In alignment, yeah. And you can provide a greater value, which then, sure, it does receive, it's appropriate to charge a higher cost for it. But you have to see that the value increases in a situation like this. When you reduce some of the clientele, and even if you don't, let's say 100% stay on board. But that means that your clientele are okay paying that level of service.
Yep.
Gary Vee said it years ago. He said, what should I or somebody asked him, look at one of the videos where what should I charge for my service? And he goes, or, when should I raise my rates, or what should I raise my rates to? And it was, you raise your rates until people stop buying your service, because it's not always about cost. It's not about your competition in the marketplace. It's not about necessarily the demographic that you're as a whole. Here, we have the ability to create what we've gotten away from, right? A lower cost service and serve a lot more people. But that's not the business that you want to run. And you guys listening, that's probably not the business you want to run. I know you were talking before, like the number of members was a big KPI for so long, but it wasn't it didn't really fall in alignment with like the direction of the business or where the business was at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
my analogy was like, we always wanted 300-400 members. It was always our goal. Like, hey, just get more members. Well, yeah, we could have 400 members paying $10 a month tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I also then was like, you know what? I'd rather have 10 people but making $1 million a month than 400 and making $30,000 a month, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so it's not about the number of members. Where as a young gym owner, it's all about how many clients you have. Yeah. It's about the revenue and the service.
And that's the thing. I know from all the time that we've spent here. you and your team know the value you bring to the table when you have the ability and you have the time and you can actually there's more skin in the game with some of these clients, but you're over delivering value in a way that there's really no limitation. You know what I mean? You can do things that you can't do for somebody for $100 a month.
$99, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the result of the people that are with you are going to be much greater. And at the end of the day, that's really back to why we're here. And so it's not like you're serving less people. You're still providing the same or a higher level of result for the people that are willing to walk through your doors and align with your beliefs and your culture and your program design and all of that.
And that's a good point to talk about. How do gyms normally set their prices? They typically look around at the competition and, well, if that guy's charging $150, I should charge $130 or $135. And that's the absolute wrong way to look at it. And there's another thing that gym owners always seem to think is like you deserve to have a profit in your business.
Yes.
You deserve it. And unfortunately, like you said, you'd almost rather some gym owners, the mindset's always, I'd rather sacrifice profit just to serve. Well, take it a step back and look at it the other way. If you never make a profit, you're not going to be able to serve people over the long term. So really you're not fulfilling your mission anyway. So you need to make a profit so you can continue to serve and live and enjoy what you do, because if you don't make a profit month in, month out, year in, quarter out, you're going to resent the hell.
Exactly.
You're going to sit in the shower 10 minutes longer and just dreading going in.
How many people are how many gym owners have we talked to that are burnt out? We talked about it previously, like cash flow is a month over thing. Like the heartbeat of their entire organization is how many new people they can sign up this month. And it's a tough place to be. Man.
And
well, it instantly forces you to be in a place of scarcity. You don't get to look at your business with fresh eyes, be able to deliver the true level of service and value that you want to. Mm-hmm. The old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, you can't give. Right?
And our Sean Whalen, the king eats first mentality. It's not because that is the head of the household and it's crucial and so forth. But when you take care of yourself, mm-hmm. you have the ability to take care of others greater. Mm-hmm. And I think that the science of getting rich, I think we'll even talk about that way back when. And there's a psychology to it as well. When you're in a better place and you have comfort and you're not operating out of scarcity, but more the abundance mentality, you give and you serve. Yep. And it changes the whole shape of the business at that point.
Yeah, and a simple thing you can do is look at your expenses today, and and I just did this with mm-hmm. Zach yesterday. I highlighted do we really need this anymore? Do you? No, probably not. You don't. So if you can cut 10% out of your expenses,
it's like giving yourself a 10% raise.
10% raise, right? And it's goes to the bottom line. Bottom line goes into the bank. Bank becomes operating capital. You can pay yourself from that. You can do more marketing if you want.
I was just gonna say, you want more leads, save more money.
Save more money, and then you can
reinvest.
Reinvest in the business. So that's what this episode's about: is to look at the numbers and look at your price points and decide, hey, did I set my prices because that's what my competitor set them at, and I'm not really making a profit? Maybe it's time to raise rates. And I wish I would have a long time ago. And
there's a lot of things to look at. There's a lot of things to look at in your business, right? I mean, as a business owner in the training environment, your continued education. And again, we're not huge on the whole, Chase certifications and things like that, but you continue to invest in your education and provide a greater result over time to your clients. With that comes value. And if you're the type of gym owner who has a good repertoire of tools and you're knowledgeable and you can serve pretty much anybody's need, the value that comes with, people are going to be okay paying for, right? You're not the bottom of the barrel guy who just got out of some cert overnight, learned it on Facebook, and all of a sudden he's trying to run a gym. There's value in what you bring to the table. I mean, we've had clients that have their month memberships were well over $1,000. Some of them, I mean, when we were working with some of those gyms, there was $12,000, $15,000, $17,000, $25,000. A few of them out there, yeah.
Yeah, there was a gym we worked with in Manhattan.
Even some of the fitness together.
$25,000 a year to be a member. That's cool. I mean, awesome. They did all one-on-one. They had full nutrition, blood work, the whole nine. And they just brought a different clientele. How many $25,000 a year members do you really need? And maybe in Manhattan you need a lot, but you could look in your market. Maybe it's a $10,000 a year. And I have a lot of respect for gyms or businesses in general. It doesn't have to be gyms, but businesses in general that they put their flag in, and this is what we are, and
yes.
This is what we do. If you're not a fit for us, you're not a fit. We get it. We're not a fit for everybody, and I could think of a couple out there that do a good job, but you know what? Those owners enjoy what they do.
Yeah,
and they're very proud of it, and and they attract the people they need to attract, and that's really what it comes down to.
While on the topic of value too, we know it here for your clientele in the gym. We know it with our clientele with ProFit. As people ascend up into higher level packages and programming. Mm-hmm. They're also, for some reason, they're also the easier clients to work with.
That's the absolute truth.
And so, if you guys are struggling to keep people happy across the board, it might be because you're trying to solve all of the world's problems,
or you're attracting
the wrong clientele.
The wrong clientele.
Yeah,
that can't afford the services. And so. The funniest thing is the clients that pay in every gym out there, you're going to look at your clientele and you're going to say, wait a minute, the ones that I'm always hearing crap from is always the lowest
tiers.
I don't know what it is. Well, it's just a lower level person. Maybe they just complain more in life, or I don't. They're just unhappy. Maybe they're more stressed out. I mean, maybe that's it. They're stressed out because of money, and so they're just a pain. And so the clients that pay the most, they are the easiest clients to work with,
and they're the ones that align with your belief systems. And like when you write a diet program or a meal plan, or you give them recommendations, they just do it. You know what I mean? Exactly. They're bought into the core values of your gym, the belief systems of your mm-hmm. gym. Those are the clientele everybody wants to attract, but there's nothing on. Everybody's out there like, oh, I need to attract my clientele. Well, do you know who that clientele is first? And then what is
the gyms that have been around a while, you're going to be able to look at your
clients. You should be able to, absolutely.
We did this, I don't know, gosh, it was so long ago. We took our whole list of clients and we ranked them A, B, or C.
Yeah.
But an A was exactly that. We enjoy training them. They bring energy into the gym instead of taking it away.
Yeah.
We want more people that are in the A column, and then we started looking at who are these people and what do they do and what ages are they? What makes them what makes them the A?
Yeah.
We started looking for similarities, and then I mapped all their addresses and I found out where they lived, and it was like a big undertaking, but mm-hmm. we honed in on who we wanted to attract. And we stopped worrying about the B's and C's, and we just focused on the A's, and that's when things were just easier. You just attracted a better clientele because now you knew who you wanted. But if you're brand new, you may not be able to pull that off.
Or even, let's say you have not a lot isn't, but you have a group of your clientele. You have your clientele base, right? Mm-hmm. Not everybody falls as an A. Mm-mm. But how do you? Then another thing you could look at is, how do I take somebody who's a B and a C, and kind of educate, inform, provide value, and ascend people into your organization and that are going to become that lifelong.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation. Like, what is the gap between an A and a B?
Well, what's funny, it wasn't for A's for us weren't always paying the most.
Sure.
Because we had some C people that were paying high, and we just which didn't enjoy it, and you're not a good fit for everybody. That they're just always
negative Nancy, sure,
negative,
yeah,
everything's wrong. So we just looked at the people, and the funny thing is, a lot of those people are still here today, and we did that probably 7 years ago. It just goes to show you that, what, who you like is who you like to train, and it's a good fit for your organization. There you go. So this is a quick way to weed out the people that aren't bought in. So if you raise your rates, you'll probably find the people that you didn't enjoy training anyway. They might be the ones that quit. And, at the end of the day, in this scenario, if you lost 25 instead of 50, you're way ahead. You're up $5,000 a month, and that's $60,000 a year.
Yeah, right. And what do you say? The 50 people. That's 25% of your the total clientele base we were using in math. That's a huge percentage of loss.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody just lose 25% because you raised your rates.
Yeah, it depends on how you
the messaging
communicate.
Yeah,
of course. Hey, you guys all suck for raising your rates. Don't do that. Make sure there's some value. So there's some strategery that goes into the communication, on how you do this, and it has to be for the benefit of the clientele, and they have to see the value as to why you're raising it. But it should be done, and I wish I would have done it earlier. And this is my way to give back and tell people that are in the trenches right now, this is probably a really good thing to look at for you as well, because if I heard a podcast and this math made sense to me, I probably would have done it.
And to drive that home, right now is the greatest time that we've had to ever execute something like this. You have to be looking at the systems, you have to be looking at the math, the data, everything right now. This is our opportunity to look at everything that we're doing for the business, make the necessary changes. We were talking about the conversion or the life cycle of a client. Same situation, right? You don't just go throw more money at marketing because your sales process sucks. Fix your sales process, and then the whole process gets better.
Right.
So this is your opportunity. Dig deep. Make those changes. Right now is your opportunity. Take action.
Perfect. Well, we'll end it on that, guys. There's your homework for the day. So jump in that. Let us know how you do.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Shoot us a DM, email. You can find me on Instagram at Tim Lyons Jr.
There
with
you
my
go.
1,200 followers. All right. Until next episode, guys. Keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.